Hello everyone, welcome back to Yes Guy Gaming. On this episode of Video Games, I'm going to take a look back at Stardew Valley, one of my favorite games of the past couple of years. Now, I already did a full review of Stardew Valley, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. It's an awesome game. If you haven't checked it out, I would definitely take a look at it. If it's the kind of game for you, definitely purchase it, play through it. It's definitely worth your time. But what I wanted to talk about today was this concept that Stardew Valley takes with a greater challenge in kind of a sandboxy RPG style game like this and games like Harvest Moon. In Stardew Valley, there's a lot to do, and kind of your main goals are told to you, like develop the farm, achieve, get married, do all these things. But there's one overarching goal that is to complete the community center, either by purchasing it and kind of going for the bad Joja Mart ending, or by finding all the required items and filling out all the little bundles so that you can fill out the community center and kind of restore the town. Now, the mechanics of Stardew Valley and games like this are fun to play through for the types of gamers that do enjoy that. You do the farming, there's the mining, which is a ton of fun, way more fun than in other games like this. There's the animals, the harvesting, like foraging, all sorts of stuff to do in this game, which are all fun in their own ways. But what takes a game from being fun for a few hours and then you get bored to a game that you can play for 30, 40, 50, 60 hours is a greater challenge that you're looking to achieve. In Stardew Valley, if there were no community center achievement, where there was no reason to do all this stuff, the longevity of the game might kind of fall off. Like, you finish a year, you've seen all the seasons, you've seen all the festivals, you've kind of played through the gameplay, harvested a bunch of crops, and done all these things, and you end up asking yourself, why? The stuff in the community center is a little bit more challenging to get, and if you miss things in one season, you'll have to wait around to get those again. You can complete it in one season. There's some speed runs or whatever of the game who finish it within the first year, but for those who aren't attacking it that aggressively, it's this kind of thing that plays in the background that you're always conscious of and something that you'll need to do if you're looking to finish the game. Now, Stardew Valley is highly influenced and inspired by the Harvest Moon games, a series of games that I'm definitely a huge fan of. I've already reviewed the Harvest Moon 64 edition. I hope to review some more of them because they're really fun games and kind of where I found my love for this type of game. Harvest Moon played around with this idea of a greater challenge a few times in their game in the Magical Melody, the Tree of Tranquility, and Animal Parade games, where you had this kind of goal where you needed to collect all these things to kind of save the town and win the game. It's for this reason that these are maybe some of my more favorite games, but I didn't end up playing those games as much as some of the others because the gameplay wasn't quite as good. I don't really feel like there was a Harvest Moon game that really combined the two ideas of breadth of gameplay and the stuff that you can do that makes it really fun, and then an overarching goal that you can kind of achieve. For example, Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, tons of things you can do, great mechanics, a lot of fun, but there's no real overarching greater goal. Stardew Valley definitely attacks this idea by giving you a ton of things to do and a ton of things that you need to do to complete the community center. You need to touch every aspect of the game if you're going to get that done. This is a great design concept, making the way for you to beat the game, to touch every single mechanic in the game. But it's to a point, so you need to earn a certain amount of money to finish the game, to buy things and crops and equipment and all sorts of other stuff, but you can do it in whatever way you want. You do need to touch each mechanic a little bit, the fishing, mining, farming, foraging, all those things to complete the game, but you can make your choice once you've touched all of them, which you really like the most and where you're really going to put your focus into playing the game. In addition to just the community center challenges, there's also a few items and things that you can buy for an exorbitant amount of money to give players who've played a ton of the game and are really having a lot of fun something to actually work towards in the late game. This really extends the playtime of this game and makes it so that players will play your game for a lot longer. For example, the totems that you could buy from the wizard's place at the end of the game for like 1,000,000 gold or something like that, that's a lot of money, and there's a couple of them to buy that give you added benefits that help you play the game and kind of serve as this really sense of I've made it, I've actually dominated this game, I've purchased everything, I've beaten the game by achieving all these goals. And it takes a very long time to do that. but they've crafted it in such a way that the players who don't really have those aspirations can still enjoy the game and feel like they've beaten the game once they get married, or maybe complete just the town center, or maybe just accumulate a bunch of money. You can do whatever you want. The challenges are left there for you to accomplish at your own pace, which is beautiful. Personally, I love games that really attack this kind of late game mentality. If your gameplay is strong enough, then players are going to want to play it for a long time. And at the end, once they've either beaten the game or done the majority of the gameplay, a nice little thing at the end to kind of keep them going once they've really enjoyed the game, or for example, once they've collected all the power-ups or really powered up their character or really accomplished some goal that's changed the world. A little bit of gameplay after that, where Stardew Valley gives a ton, but a little bit after that serves as kind of like a cherry on top of what is a phenomenal game, and Stardew Valley does that really well. Well, this episode's a little bit shorter than normal. That's all I've got to say about the Greater Challenge in Stardew Valley. Definitely, it's a game you want to check out if you haven't already, especially if you're a fan of the Harvest Moon games. You have to play this game. This is like Harvest Moon 7. It's a definite sequel to these. It's spiritual successor, whatever you want to call it. Definitely go out and check it out. It's well worth your time. But thank you guys again so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. If you enjoy these videos, leave a like or maybe leave some comments on some topics that you'd love to hear covered and you want to learn about, and we can kind of study and learn and grow about game design together. That sounds really corny. But thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you next time on Video Games, eh?